So by now, everybody should know who this person is. This is Shiloh Hendricks. She was the woman that was at the playground that called a little autistic boy the N-word, the hard N-word. And since that video has been viral, she put up a GoFundMe to help protect her family because she was feeling threatened. And she raised over $1 million. $1 million from YT supremacists who were leaving comments and little code words. Now, I never thought I would say this, but I was never a fan of Piers Morgan. In fact, I despise that man. But just recently, he had one of Shiloh Hendricks' supporters on his show, and he obliviated her. This woman came out and admitted that she's a YT supremacist, that she is a racist. I never thought in my lifetime I would ever agree with anything that Piers Morgan has ever said. But in this case, watch this video of how he obliviates this proud racist. Her name is Lily Gaddith, for those of you that want to make her famous.
Why would you want to support a white racist?
Because I want to support free speech, and you cannot have free speech in a country.
No, that's fine. You can support free speech, but you also have to be accountable for what you say. Would you use the N-word out of interest?
Yes.
You would?
Mm-hmm. I do, quite frequently.
You use the N-word quite frequently. Well, why? Other than the fact you're a despicable racist. Are you?
Some would say I am. I guess according to the ADL, I'm a white supremacist. I'm a neo-Nazi.
But if you use the N-word repeatedly, you are a racist, then, are you?
Sure, I'll embrace that. If that means forwarding, helping white people achieve freedom of speech, real freedom of speech, which, by the way, Shiloh Hendricks is being attacked on all fronts. They're trying to bring legal charges against her. They're trying to get her children taken away. So you were saying Carmelo Anthony, it doesn't matter. That's a different.
Sorry, but just to be clear, you just said to me you use the N-word regularly. In what context? Right. Do you use it with black people?
Yes, if it's appropriate.
When would it be appropriate to use the N-word? When would it be appropriate?
Anytime I feel like it.
So you're an unashamed racist.
Correct.
Hey girl, hey, welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Key. Now look, we're going to get right into it. I put that first clip there just to catch everybody up on it if you don't know what's going on. We really need to talk about it, how a woman called an autistic black child the N-word and then somehow turned around and raised nearly $1 million off of it. Yeah, you heard that right. Let's unpack the audacity, the internet, and the wild way racism keeps getting monetized, y'all. Let's get into it.
Well, do you understand that makes you a despicable human being?
I guess so. I don't really care. I mean, why are we not talking about Shiloh Hendricks? Why are we talking about?
Well, actually, I think you've moved it on in this debate very quickly to your own racism, which explains why you've supported her in public and why you've got all these views. You see no problem with a woman shrieking the N-word repeatedly because you yourself are a despicable racist, and you've just proudly admitted that with a smug grin on your face, which is pretty horrifying, actually, for most people to have to watch. And shame on you. You're entitled to do it, and I'm entitled to call you despicable.
So, Piers Morgan has done an interview with the founder of Give, Send, Go. And that interview was kind of sketchy, to say the least. Piers Morgan is asking him about the protections as it relates to children on their platform. The founder goes into saying that basically they have protections for children. However, there's none for black children. In fact, he supports Shiloh Hendricks being able to use their platform, even after she called this African-American child the N-word. So he goes into this being such a Christian-based platform. However, I'm starting to doubt anything about this platform being Christian-based and more as a way to use the word of God to collect funds. Y'all listen to this interview and let me know what y'all think.
What about a 5-year-old child being? What about a 5-year-old black child being called the N-word?
What about that?
Where does the protection for that child come in?
Well, that's their parents' responsibility. That's like if
going to make him. Well, look, let me just spell it out to you. The way things are going, you're going to make a millionaire out of a woman who racially abused a child.
Have the right to raise funds for their security, for their protection, because they've been doxxed, because of a snapshot moment, because everyone has a camera in their pocket. And today it was
Abused
pulled
him.
out.
You
and
racially
recorded.
abused him. If you racially abuse people, you are made accountable for your actions.
So for the rest of your life, the rest of
Actually,
your
you
life,
know what? If you,
you're shut
if
off
you,
from society.
If you call black people the N-word and racially abuse them, unfortunately, yes, it has consequences, probably for your professional life,
No, I'm not saying,
for the rest
I'm
of
not
your
saying
professional
that,
life.
No, we understand that there are consequences. That's why we started a prayer team at Give, Send, Go. We actually call every campaign owner and we pray with them and we actually talk them back from the ideological edges that they find themselves in by saying, you know what, there's a God that loves you. You don't need to get into this tribal space. You need to focus.
Here's the
This is why
flaw
we
with
find
Shiloh.
ourselves where we
Here's
are.
the flaw with Shiloh Hendricks. She, in her message left on the donation site, it goes on, sentence after sentence, playing the victim. She never once mentions that she repeatedly used the N. I believe tips and donations from each of the donations that come in. Is that how the system works?
The system works on voluntary donations.
Okay.
So the only thing that we receive
just
as
out of
revenue
interest,
from
of the $600,000 plus that have now been raised for her, how much have you guys made, Give, Send, Go, from that money? Presumably you know, right?
I actually don't know. I haven't kept track.
Someone is countering Shiloh Hendricks' Give, Send, Go fundraiser on Give, Send, Go for $1.2 million. And their mission is to relocate Somali and African American people to Shiloh Hendricks' neighborhood. That way they can all be around her at all times. And they also want to hire a private investigator to monitor everything about her. It's just insane. Now, I'm just showing you guys like a little screen recording of it, but we are going to go into detail. So as you can see here, they want to raise funds to purchase homes for Black and Somali families and settle them permanently in the vicinity of Shiloh Hendricks' current or future residences. And the initial target is $1 million just to purchase about 5 to 10 properties. They want to partner with a real estate firm, that way they can get this all done, and the target group is that. They also want to verify that everybody who's going to be relocating around her has a clean criminal history. And to check if you're eligible, the only thing you got to do is just want to live next to her, which you can see here, but they also want to collaborate with the community. And here's where they want to hire a private investigator. And if she moves, the whole process is just going to restart again, and they're going to just get more people to settle around her new relocated address and just continue this process. She has successfully raised over $550,000 already, surpassing Carmelo Anthony. But the NAACP is catching up. Let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section below. Make sure to like this video and follow me and engage with this video from the bottom up. That way the algorithm brings you back for another update. Peace!
Saying that you're a proud racist in the name of having freedom of speech for white people is, girl, what are you talking about? What she was saying didn't even make sense. Call a thing, you aren't advocating for freedom of speech. You're advocating to be openly racist. Like, that's what you want. You want it to be okay to be racist again. You want it to be like back in the day when you can call people the N-word, you can hang people, you can discriminate because you're black or whatever. You want that to be okay. You don't want freedom of speech. Like, call a thing a thing. And I hate how they hide behind one thing but mean another thing. Like, just be open about it, girl. Just be straight up front. Just say that's what you want. Well, you might no, I can't even say you might lose a job, because there's been plenty of instances where people have, said along the lines that they want it's okay to be racist, or have said a racist thing, and they've gotten jobs for it. Look at who she was defending, Shiloh Hendricks, who called the child the N-word and raised $1 million, like, which thankfully I hear that she didn't get, and the people who donated to her aren't getting a refund. Good. I think her name is Lily Addis. Girl, you're dumb. Like, you're stupid. Then she was like, she uses the N-word when it's appropriate. And Pierce was like, well, when is it appropriate? She was like, when I feel like it. Just be upfront and say you refer to black people as N-word. Like, stop being a pussy. Stop being a punk, bitch. If you want to stand in it, stand in it. Be upfront with it. Stop being a coward. And you want to be so bold about you saying the N-word, but when Pierce Morgan prompted you to say the N-word, I see you didn't say it. Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, girl,
Okay, so you guys let me know if I've got this one wrong, but a white lady repeatedly called a young black child with autism the N-word after he grabbed her diaper bag. She then refused to apologize or deny, saying, and I quote, "I was just calling the kid out for what he was," and she's now received over $300,000 fucking dollars in GoFundMe money, and there are still half-wits on God's green earth that claim that racism doesn't exist anymore. We are truly in the fucking bad place. There is only one logical conclusion to draw from that, and that's that racism is alive and fucking thriving in America. And if you don't believe me, go read the comments on the fucking donations. Go read the comments with the lightning bolts, the comments with 1488 written in them, the comments that are so filled with slurs and hate that they have to be fucking filtered. Go read that fucking scum, and then say it with your chest to that 5-year-old kid that you don't think racism exists anymore. This government wants to put kids with autism on a list? Fuck that. You ask me, the only people who belong on a list in this scenario are the sentient fucking skid marks who are commenting literal Yahtzee propaganda on their donation links to a woman that they feel sympathy for who called a black child with autism the N-word repeatedly. But maybe I'm just a radical left lunatic.
And one more thing about the N-word, white people, listen. I respect when you guys are racist up front so I know my enemy, but I just want to make this very clear. Because you feel comfortable saying racial things towards black people, don't say we're violent, don't say we're this, that, and the third. If we retaliate and smack this shit out of one of y'all, I be seeing that, y'all be like, oh, y'all want to resort to violence over a word? When you speak, that's an action. So if you go out your way to disrespect somebody and they don't appreciate it, they might disrespect you by kicking your fucking ass. If your mom died of cancer, and it's a sensitive subject to you, and I say, ha, your mom died of cancer, and you don't want to put pause on me, I would think you's a hoe. All that, I'm a bigger man shit, no, you's a hoe. I know Shiloh Hendrix got you guys feeling emboldened, but you're gonna try that racist shit with the wrong bull one day, and that shit's gonna be the end of you. And you will have no one to blame but yourself.
Shiloh Hendrix is the whole story. Now, to understand what I mean, I want you to think about this one question. Do you remember when Donald Trump called Hillary Clinton a nasty woman? He took the time to interrupt her answer in the middle of a 2016 presidential debate because she committed the unforgivable sin of correctly pointing out that he liked to avoid paying taxes. That's it. That was the heinous offense. Now I have one question. Where is Donald Trump? Because it's now been several days since I saw Shiloh Hendrix call an autistic black preschool child the N-word multiple times in a public playground, in front of other kids and families, in a video that has now been seen tens of millions of times. And I haven't heard a word from President Trump or Republican leaders calling out and condemning her hate speech. Instead, do you know what I've seen? Over 25,000 Republicans donate nearly $700,000 to her to celebrate her way of living that she will pass on to her children and evangelize in her community. And this is the thing. It's not just Shiloh Hendrix. It's not just her hate speech. It's not the fact that her net worth, which could soon exceed $700,000, will be more than triple the average American. It's that she just exposed the absolute most brutal truth about living in America today. And I know you feel this too. The truth that for my entire adult life, for our collective lives as Americans, we were told these people and these beliefs were the fringe minority. That we shouldn't judge Republicans based on the behaviors and the words of a few crazy people. Please ignore them. They don't speak for us. Well, you stand for what you tolerate. And right now, and ever since the deranged demigod dictator launched his birther movement over a decade ago, all I see is the accelerating wholesale embrace of hate by the right. Hate that now lives in the White House. Hate that is now writing policies that govern this country. Hate that is hurting real people every day. And now we have Shiloh Hendrix, the blindingly bright crystallization of the movement our president so proudly and so unapologetically embraces for its unwavering commitment to him. This vile human could now be paid $1 million or more for no service to society other than screaming the N-word at an autistic child on a playground. This is what we mean when we quiver with rage when we hear the phrase both sides. This is not both sides, this is one side. One side embracing the festering hate that was passed on to them by their parents, their grandparents, and their great-grandparent, all the way back to the first putrid human, who looked at a person with darker skin than them and thought, that person is worse than me, and they should suffer for it. Racism is our cancer, a disease older than the United States itself, but a disease that for most of my life I firmly believed we wanted to cure. But now as the disease spreads more aggressively and publicly than I've ever seen, I look at the 75 million voters on the other side, and all I hear is deafening silence.
If the federal government can revoke a student visa and deport someone for speaking out about their political beliefs, and ICE can go into the wrong house and seize somebody's property, I guess it's only a matter of time for them to investigate Shiloh Hendrix's immigration status, deport her for using hate speech on an American child, and seize the $300,000 that white supremacists raised for her, right? Right?
Shout out to fucking Piers Morgan. If you don't know why, he had a panel up and they were speaking about that Shiloh girl who called a little black autistic boy the N-word because he was digging in her diaper bag. But that little discussion took a motherfucking left turn because of Miss Lily what the fuck over here. Watch the clip.
This is a disgusting racist woman who repeatedly spews the N-word, first at a young child. She's just a racist. End, isn't she? You wouldn't dispute that.
It's not about her. It's not about her. It's about
Well, it is about
people
her.
coming together and supporting another white person. And it doesn't matter.
Why
what
would
she
you want to
says.
support a white racist?
Because I want to support free speech, and you cannot have free speech in a country.
No, that's fine. You can support free speech, but you also have to be accountable for what you say. Would you use the N-word out of interest?
Yes.
You would?
I do, quite frankly.
You use the N-word quite frequently. Well, why? Other than the fact you're a despicable racist. Are you?
Some would say I am. I guess according to the ADL, I'm a white supremacist. I'm a neo-Nazi.
Yeah, well, if you use the N-word repeatedly, you are a racist, then, are you? Are you?
Sure, I'll embrace that. If that means forwarding, helping white people achieve freedom of speech, real freedom of speech, which, by the way, that's a different.
Sorry, but just to be
thing.
clear, you just said to me you use the N-word regularly. In what context?
Right.
Do you use it with black people?
Yes, if it's appropriate.
When would it be appropriate to use the
about
N-word?
black people.
When would it be appropriate?
Anytime I feel like it.
Disgusting fucking behavior. Disgusting behavior.
Okay, so I haven't talked about this a whole lot, but I have been so bothered by this. When I say I have been disgusted by this, there was this white woman named Shiloh Hendricks who called a black baby the N-word. And then when she was exposed, she went on to raise, I think it's at $1 million now. She has raised $1 million on this crowdfunding page for calling a black kid the N-word, right? I was so bothered by that, and everybody's like, what can we do? What can we do? Y'all know me for cyberbullying people, but that was not going to be enough. So I'm going to tell y'all what I did, okay? I've been thinking, I've been strategizing, I've been doing a little sleuthing, right? So what I thought about as a business owner, what do I want to hit? Do I want to hit her or do I want to hit the money? So I thought about that. So I started searching and trying to figure out how can I find this funding source. I'm a business owner, I own a retail store, so I know there is a funding source. There's a pipeline somewhere, right? Give, Send, Go is the platform she uses, but they are not the bank. So I thought, like, we got to find a bank. And most banks are not going to want to be attached to something like that, right? Like most banks, especially payment processors, they will cut that shit off with any type of doubt or controversy. They'll usually just cut it off, right? So what I did, I used to be a web developer, so I know how to code and I know how to read code. So I went and I broke down the code on Give, Send, Go's checkout page line for line, and there were keywords I wanted to look for, right? So I looked for the keywords and I started looking through the keywords and I found the keyword Block Inc., right? That's familiar, right? Block Inc. is the parent company of Square. So I went and I did my researching and it turns out, yeah, that's their payment processor. So I'm going to attach and I'm going to share ways we can contact both Block Inc. and Square. So we want to hit both of them so they can't ignore us, right? But there is a process to report stuff like that. And I don't know if they just didn't think we'd find it out. But yeah, bitch, we found it out. So I'm going to share how y'all can report. Stop reporting to Give, Send, Go. They don't give a fuck. They supported Kyle Rittenhouse, the January 6th rioters. That is literally what they do. That platform thrives off hate. So we don't want to hit them. We want to hit the money. And see, Give, Send, Go is a for-profit company and they pretty much can do what they want to do. But when it comes to banking and payment processing in this country, we do actually have laws and regulations surrounding that. So any type of bank or payment processor has to have a clear-cut policy that prevents them from funding hateful things like that. So yes, Block and Square both have policies that prohibit the use of their platform for glorifying or amplifying or profiting off of harassment, illegal activities, racism, and yes, hate speech. So she has violated their policy by even having that campaign. I'm telling y'all, stop playing with black women in business and stop playing with black women in tech, because I know good and fucking well y'all didn't think we were going to look into that. Okay, I'm glad somebody tagged me in this so that I can respond, because I don't want this type of misinformation spreading. This is what's wrong in our society in the age of the internet. When somebody stands up, when somebody is doing something and actually pushing for a change, y'all nitpick that person
so fucking much that the enemy or the person on the other side doesn't even have to. This is absolutely untrue. And I'm not sure what side you're on, but it is very clear you have not been following this story. I went to their website and I broke down their HTML code. This is stuff that is documented. Y'all think I would just make these claims without some sort of proof of that? I said I saw Block Inc. Now follow me here. I saw Block Inc. in their code. And as a business owner, I know Block Inc. is the parent company of Square, a payment processor. Block Inc. is the corporation. They're a umbrella for multiple things, including Cash App, Afterpay, and Tidal as well. So I called out Block Inc. because I saw them there for sure. I saw Block Inc. I called out Block Inc. and because Square is their payment processing plugin, people use their deductive reasoning to gather that it was Square. And again, if you follow this story, if you see any of the story that happened online, you'll see that multiple people, hundreds and thousands of people at this point have screenshotted their conversations with Square, and Square acknowledged this campaign initially. They were not denying it initially. They acknowledged it, said they were investigating it, and compliance reached out to say they were having it taken down. And now suddenly they've never even been a part of it, right? Now, I want y'all to look through this screenshot, and I want y'all to recognize a fucking PR and legal stunt when you see one. Look at the language. Notice that they say current customer, as in not a customer right now, because they severed ties and backed away and tried to distance themselves when we called them out for that. Also notice that they don't deny being a part of that campaign at all. They just say Give, Send, Go is not their customer. It's also important to note that in this case, Square is a third-party payment processor. They are a separate plugin that you just add to your website. So when you go and you set up one of these campaigns, you select one of maybe like a dozen payment processors, right? And you connect it, and this payment processor is acting as the middleman. They are collecting these funds, and they're going to send it to your bank account. So in this case, maybe technically, legally, Shiloh Hendricks is the customer if she's the one who connected them to that website. But make no fucking mistake, I saw it. Other people have confirmed it too. Block Inc. and Square were connected to that campaign, and they collected up to $600,000 for her. And again, just search the topic, scroll, do your research. There are other people on this app who have actually screenshotted the code and showed that the new payment processor is Stripe. So initially when I saw it and when other people saw it after I called it out, it was not Stripe, it was Block Inc. So now they have switched over to a different platform. And again, I've detailed all of this. There was a period of time a couple of days ago where me and a bunch of other creators were just up in the middle of the night and people were contacting me saying, hey, the campaign isn't accepting payments right now, right? So we monitored it and we broke down the code, and there was maybe an hour or so where they weren't collecting payments in the middle of the night, and boom, just like that, after that time passed, now they're collecting payments via Stripe. Now, as somebody who's a web developer, former web developer, and a business owner, I know that stunt when I see one. Anytime I had to change payment processors, you do it at a time where it's not busy. So the fact that that switch happened in the middle of the night was strategic. And if you can't wrap your head around that, I'll never be able to explain it to you. So in this case, this is the example I give. In this case, let's say we are at an apple orchard. You brought your basket and I don't have mine. So whether these apples fall off the tree, whether you catch them for me or whatever, I ask you, hey, can you hold my apples and bring them home for me when we get done? And you say, yeah, sure. But then somebody comes and they say, hey, you guys aren't supposed to be picking these apples. And you're like, oh, these aren't my apples, they're Keandria's. You're still holding the fucking apples. You still moved the apples. You still picked these apples illegally, whether it was for me or not. At this point, Square denying involvement is like being caught with bricks in your trunk and being like, oh, I'm holding them for a friend. Like, you moved the money. You were complicit, bro.
Listen, I don't even know where to start wrapping this up because it's just a lot to take in. We've got a grown woman weaponizing slurs against a child. And it's really messing me up because my child has autism, so it's hitting me a little different. And it took me a little second to be able to bring myself. That's why I'm not even on camera. Y'all just got to hear my voiceover. But somehow instead of taking accountability, she walks away with nearly $1 million in donation money, using GoFundMe and Square to turn racism into a revenue stream. That's just wild. Let's be clear, it's not about the gift or the support. Like, we applaud gifts and support, but for this is crazy. And somehow they're twisting this victimhood into a cash out. And that's doing way more harm. And what does it say about the people giving her this money? Y'all rewarding her like her harm is like heroism. Like, come on, that's really fucking scary for y'all to even, for her to raise this money. Like, people can't raise money for regular stuff. And for her to get almost $1 million for saying that, that's blowing my mind. But yeah, I could talk another 40 minutes. But I'll stop here before my blood pressure goes up. Drop your thoughts in your comments because I know y'all got some. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And please, please use your critical thinking the next time someone tries to turn a hate-filled moment into a business opportunity. All right, I'm out. But stay smart, stay loud, and stay unapologetically aware. Catch y'all in the next one.